now in Fnatic's draft. And so this is a concern, Abathur, but not so much the Tracer at this moment. We're going to look at the map and I'll tell you a little bit. Okay, we're going to go to Tomb of the Spider Queen. And a lot of things are possible here. I would say the main things that Dignitas wants to avoid is Breeze's ETC and or Anubarak.
Yes.
Quacknick's Greymane, and also Tassadar in general. You know, here you don't even need Tracer to make Tassadar viable.
Now on this map, Fnatic changes up their ban, their first ban, and always has banned Tracer throughout this event and even at BlizzCon. So we'll see if they do that here. Tomb is very interesting between these teams because there was a time where it was generally expected for Fnatic to win. Every time in competition, official competition, these two teams faced off after the first Western Clash and all the way up to Phase 2, Part 2, Fnatic won on this map. They always got the early advantage with the Web Weavers. Team Dignitas was forced to try to make a miracle comeback, and at the mid-season brawl, you could see it was just far too difficult to try to get those fights, but at the same time hold on to all your gems. But Dig started playing aggressively, more aggressively in Part 2, and since then it has been more of a Dig-favored map, which is in general why we're seeing them pick it here.
Yeah, and you know, I think with that Greymane first pick, that Fnatic has two players on that are very good at it. I think it's Quacknick's best hero, Mene maybe a seventh best, but still very good. I'm wondering if Dignitas will use one of their not-so-secret weapons, Tyrael Genji. They're playing this Tyrael Genji as a kind of control the map, threat level, disengage style composition. And while it's not as well suited on Tomb, I'm not sure that you want to give away Tyrael at this point, as Breeze has been running a mean one as well. Not necessary though, per se. Can also try to focus the Anubarak in order to take that away from Fnatic.
The Genji's still up, and they'll take it again. They've been playing either early Genji or Greymane, and then getting a mage themselves for Poik on this map. So we'll see what later on if Poik moves into something like a Chromie or a Gul'dan there, and whether or not Fnatic does the same.
Uther is the surprise here for me in this rotation. As synergistic as it is with Genji, it's not what we have come to see from the Gold Club World Championship 2017 so far, from Dignitas. Genji Tyrael, Genji and a tank, maybe Anubarak, Genji Lucio, Dehaka would be more expected. Now Fnatic, they have to also remember Dignitas' threat here of the Wooby pick. Arthas, Wooby was absolutely fantastic, but he's also one of the few that can make Leoric work right now.
Yeah,
and this is a great map for it.
That is... It's a hard question to answer for Fnatic between those two. They are both really good. Wubby, honestly, I feel like is one of the top players at this event in general. He has been really showing up for Team Dignitas here. Lucio and Anubarak.
I was actually wondering if Fnatic will do Li Ming and Anubarak. I like the Anubarak a lot. Fantastic hero on, for Breeze, and would have worked well for Dignitas as well. Anubarak also can deal with cocooning Uther, so that Genji doesn't have that support. This basically pushes Dignitas to the second support.
Yes.
If you want to avoid having your only support cocooned away. And that's nice because it limits Dignitas' drafting potential.
It also gives them the opportunity still to ban Li Ming as the cocoon counter.
Yeah. And
cocoon can also work as a stopping point for a Dragon Blade even too. If that's a huge problem for your team, if the sound barrier is down in that instant, it's another way of trying to deal with that too. So there are ways of Fnatic being able to slow down the momentum of Team Dignitas. What's interesting here is that Team Dignitas is questioning the Li Ming.
I love it actually. They've taken Uther, which is one of Mene's picks.
Okay.
Abathur is not available on Tomb of the Spider Queen because it's not a good map for him. Li Ming is the next best pick, the one who is most self-sufficient in defending herself against Genji. And now you're putting Mene on what? One of his static mages, Gul'dan, Jaina, Chromie, Kel'Thas, everyone who Genji punishes fairly heavily. Or you can put Mene on Greymane and then Quacknick has to flex to something else, which arguably for me, that's a victory, because I think Quacknick's Greymane is fantastic.
If that truly is a call out to Mene, how interesting that would feel for Mene now on Fnatic, who was until recently on Team Dignitas.
Whoa.
I'm attacked by a bee!
I think it's a wasp actually. There's a small but subtle and unimportant difference at this point.
I would like help, please! Oh my god.
He really likes
I'm bringing it towards you! Why is he following me? It's because I have flowers on my dress!
Or perfume, maybe.
Help! Okay.
That was crazy.
What is happening?
Didn't even look at me.
Oh my!
Wow.
That was terrifying.
I was opening up already to see the behaviors of this particular insect to see how we can... Okay, alright.
Thank you, Duke, my hero. Saved me from the wasp.
Fnatic
We're
bans
back.
Gul'dan and the stage manager has banned the bee/wasp symbiote monstrosity. And we continue. Thanks for your understanding.
Whew. A lot of mage bans here. And so, from that, does Team Dignitas get maybe a Poix Chromie again?
You know, Arthas would make so much sense against Greymane. Also, Leoric is not as great into either Greymane or Liming. Now, Liming is, of course, already gone. But Greymane really punishes Leoric. So, Arthas is fantastic. And there you go, your Chromie as well.
Together, we figured it out.
Why is this creature coming back? Okay, he's actually sitting... I'm going to take a picture. For Okay, wait.
Oh, you're gonna make it angry?
Wow, I mean, this is amazing. This is the first one I've seen in China.
This has never happened to me before casting.
I think
a
it's
lot
a
of
wasp.
things have happened to me casting, but not this.
It is actually a wasp. It is more aggressive than bees, and you know, it looks different.
Yeah,
anyway,
coming straight at me.
Fnatic. Now they need to deal with the Arthas problem and the Chromie problem. Cleanse is not available. Poik was fantastic with slowing sands, but Temporal Loop remains a threat, and you'll just insta-burst Lucio if you don't take Cleanse.
Yes.
So Fnatic needs a second support, and I would say
And the cleanse ones?
Something for Mene as well.
The cleanse ones are fairly limited. You could go for an Ariel and use Crystal Aegis in the same way, but then Chromie's going to have the burst.
Maybe Mene Brightwing?
Too. Yeah, it's either Brightwing, Rhaegar, Lily.
Okay,
None.
no Cleanse. What's the play here? Using Sulphurous Smash to interrupt Chromie when she's doing Temporal, perhaps? Or Cocoon, or Impale, or Burrow Charge. Either way, Fnatic now increases the burden on their non-support players in order to deal with the Chromie problem. And Ragnaros is great on Tomb of the Spider Queen, though, so no problem with that, per se.
Yeah, there is a lot of burst capabilities, lockdown, and a quick kill that Fnatic has shown that even with the roster changes, they have still been able to maintain at the level that you expect from them. Even yesterday versus SPT, they ran a Sleep Dart into the Cursed Bullet, into the Li Ming Nano Boost, and it one-shot just about anybody that got caught from SPT.
Yeah, it was so good. Dignitas uses the Stitches again. And I can't say I really blame them. They're going to go with the single support, choosing to potentially let him get cocooned. So if Uther keeps his positioning in a good place, Cocoon really has a very short range these days. It got nerfed like a few months ago. And Stitches once again, which has been, I think, the nightmare for Fnatic in many of their international encounters.
Yeah, Stukov has to be worried about dropping Lurking Arm.
Yeah.
You put yourself stationary to put the Lurking Arm on the ground. Almost think he's going to have to go for the Lingering Spines, just drop it and then it stays there, and then that way you don't get the root at 13, but you make yourself a lot safer and you don't have to be as stationary of a target, or Stitch is just going to have a heyday.
Yeah, and you know, Ragnaros, very hookable Fire Lord as well.
Oh yeah.
Lucio, Greymane, I mean, the sole saving grace, at least in terms of dealing with the Stitches problem for Fnatic, is having a Nuborax Beetles block some of those skill shots, but JPL, I'm sure he has the experience to get around that. I have a question, Gilly. Who do you think Mene is going to be playing in this draft? Ragnaros, Stukov, or Greymane?
I think he'll be playing the Stukov. But it also... Yeah, I'd say Smexy plays Lucio, and then Stukov by Mene.
It could also be Quacknix on Stukov, and then Mene on Greymane.
Quacknix played Tassadar in the last game.
Yeah, a darn waste, by the way, of his talents, in my opinion.
That is fair.
I mean, good Tassadar play still distinguishes itself, make no mistake, but Quacknix is such a good player with these quick and mobile heroes that seeing him on Tassadar, something dies a little bit, and it's not the Wasp. I think he's due for a return soon.
Sadly, do you see it? Just don't tell me, or I'll start running around. Fnatic on the ropes a little bit. They lost game 1 as they head into Tomb of the Spider Queen.
I think it's so amazing in these competitions when you keep seeing this one hero coming back to torment this team. and it's Stitches. Every time when Fnatic was the favorite in international competitions, and Dignitas falls behind 0-2 and in triple Stitches their way back to victory.
Yeah, the Western Clash.
Yeah.
That was unreal. Team Dignitas were not slated at all to win that. By all rights, it should have been
Western
Fanatics.
Clash 1, right?
Yeah, or Western Clash
so.
1. Mm-hmm.
And then almost again at the mid-season brawl.
Right.
And here they face reshuffled their lineups, but still JPL tormenting Fnatic. Now, what does Fnatic have going for them? They've got Ragnaros as a very powerful defensive hero on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And they have, I guess, just a generally good draft in terms of double support, Anubarak Greymane, some solid lockdown potential. I haven't really touched upon the Anubarak Stukov combination yet that we really only started to see appearing at this tournament, where you have the double stun into the silencing arm. So powerful to kill someone. Can even follow up with the Sephora Smash. Mena is going to be on Lucio.
None of the above. E was the answer there. Yeah. Wow, a lot more flexing for Fnatic. There is not a ton of siege for Team Dignitas either, and Ragnaros is going to make that even harder for Fnatic, so that's one thing. If Fnatic just gets through the turn-ins of Team Dignitas and then gets some on their own.
But this is, to me, hilarious, and also a proof that the Dignitas strategy of drafting to punish the newest members and the deserter of their own team, Mene, with their hero pools, with their inflexibility, their proclivity in mage play, but maybe not so much in Lucio. Well, let's see. If Fnatic wins this, will Menace Lucio be the most famous in the world?
What he is a mage of music, Grubby. He makes magic with sounds.
Keyboard wizard, I guess.
Exactly.
Good point.
What has been really fun for me at this event is watching teams bring out old classics, right? SCSC Zeratul, and that he still plays it at the level he plays, which is just unreal. JPL Stitches, we saw it last game. We're going to get it again in this game. And teams, it's really cool that as Heroes of the Storm, as an esport develops, that we still see these classic picks that maybe just come out at a certain match of an event like this for JPL, and that he can still execute to the same level.
It also looks like your prediction regarding the build for Stukov is correct. Lurking arm at level 1, 7, and 13 in order to be a little bit more mobile and still get minimum 1.5 seconds of that silencing arm value. And wants to avoid that hook, of course.
Right, and it is still going to have the growth from that as it's dropped down. But 13 is where you get the ability to have it persist longer, and that gives quite a while for JPL maybe to start landing some hooks on Stukov.
Good job by Fnatic there to zone out Dignitas from the gems. Looks like a little thing, but they are now a few gems ahead of Dignitas. 3 gems were lost. The first turn-in can be quite impactful in order to secure a good position into the game. Keep in mind also, Fnatic never really got into the game last game, so that would be a nice start.
Yeah, they did it multiple times now. Team Dignitas just playing it safely with Poik. Poik waiting for his defensive cooldown himself. He gets it a little bit earlier thanks to the Time Walker trade of Chromie at 13. But still wanting to make sure to stay safe because of the dive from Anubarak, the follow-up stuns, the silence, and then the burst damage, which only gets scarier for Fnatic as they continue to level up.
Snitch's Genji has been very passively played. Looks like Genji's play more and more passive, less about the kill pressure. The threat, yes, but not necessarily always finding a mark. Just doing a lot of laning, really. Using Swift Strike as a disengage tool in order to stay safe. Here we see that Stukov and Anubarak composition. Not quite entirely executed to perfection there. Silence was a little bit late. And of course there wasn't enough follow-up damage either.
Maybe that's the play for Team Dignitas, is that after that combination comes out, JPL then follows up with a hook, and the hope is that they can do the same thing. Have Xayah there for the follow-up stun, and then the burst as Snitch dives in with his Swift Strike. And, of course, the burst from Poik too, once he's not solo laning down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, actually, not terrible wave clear does Chromie have. Breeze nearly gets out.
No turn-in yet, but Team Dignitas, in being able to put damage on Breeze and start to adjust their rotations, has gained control of this top turn-in point. And from that, Fnatic are still just trying to do the rotation where they all go up and then back or down and then back into the middle, seeing if they can catch someone when everyone joins back up in that amount of time with their lockdown comp.
Chromie uses the time trap to guard one of the most dangerous avenues of getting ganked. Chromie solo laning is not something most Hero League players would willingly do, due to lack of quest stacking on that Sand Blast. You need 60 stacks to create an Echo of Chromie that deals another 40% damage. And also the gank ability.
Yes.
But together with Time Trap and Zelia Uther's zoning and scouting in those pushes, she has remained safe. Communication of Dignitas is good. Mene on Lucio gets away. Silence combination, 75% slow from Stukov, the stuns, but Genji gets out.
Unfortunately, the Burrow Charge didn't connect, but the Impale still did to lock him down on that silence for a little bit longer. But it was enough to let Genji walk out and then get out of the silence so that he could use the mobility to get out completely from Team Fnatic. But other than that, it has been a really close game. A lot of trades on damage, but no full kills yet. Yeah. The best thing, though, for Team Dignitas is that they are controlling the turn-in point. They have people who are poking. Genji's a great poker to try to stop some opponent turn-ins, and from that at least they are getting close to being able to get some seed going.
Yeah. You know why Genji's a great poker? You can't see his face.
But
thanks. So Zelia is getting attacked here by Fnatic. He will get away. Fnatic has done a good job of actually denying gems. They're about 10 gems ahead total. Both have enough turn-in, but Fnatic has managed to zone out a number with Anubarak and Stukov's pressure. Who can get the first turn-in though? Dignitas has turned in a lot so far.
Yeah, Fnatic brought everybody up to mid-top. They've kept Ragnaros in the top lane, but bringing everyone up, maybe hoping that they could get a pick or zone away, pick someone with the advantage of having Chromie still on the bottom. Hook hit. Wubby's there too. Follow-up stun from the Uther.
Bad Bunny completed Saphira's Hungers about a minute ago or so. 90 bonus damage on that Saphira's smash. Pretty strong for Ragnaros now in those close quarters. Full Q build. If Ragnaros can stay alive, maybe thanks to Smexy's vigorous reuptake at level 4, he can wreak so much havoc. Way more damage on the front line, especially at level 16 against this double warrior lineup from Dignitas.
Yeah, Tempered Flame is going to help a lot with that at 13-2. The collapse comes in from Fnatic. Great body blocks from Quacknix and Mene.
Wow!
Moves back Wubby. The first kill finally in this game, 6 minutes in by Fnatic, just as Team Dignitas get Web Weavers. Excellently done by Fnatic to recognize this is the best place for them to get that kill. They are going to limit significantly what Dignitas can do with this Web Weaver phase, which we already talked about how good the Molten Core is at that as well.
Yeah, when you use it in the middle lane, you can defend all 3 lanes with that Molten Core. It's such a powerful tool, and as much as Fnatic had to give away the turn-in, maybe they're not that unhappy about it. They still have their gems. Look at this, 91 gems. You could even argue, and this is really going into the minds of the players in the team, that they deliberately pretended to give away turn-in, using Ragnaros to reset the gem count of Dignitas, and then being able to turn in themselves if they can get maybe 1 kill or a bit of distraction by Dignitas. Yeah. So far that seems to be working out for Fnatic, if it's true.
Something that your average player maybe would not think of, but for these teams who play each other on this map so often, they develop a lot of these counter strategies, and having those gems, getting a push in the bottom lane that has to be dealt with the dig there, pulls down some of Team Dignitas. Fnatic looking to make sure that they can get the turn-in along with heroic abilities and just get so much done with their own Web Weavers.
Hook barely misses. Hammer of Justice, Howling Blast was supposed to lock him down. Now the turnaround against Wubby. Turns on Icebound Fortitude, 25 armor. Anubarak! Anubarak! And the Chromie's Dragon Breath would have finished him had the damage of Dignitas not already done so. Breeze is lost. Gems are still safe though. Fnatic has held on to that, and they're looking to get their level 10.
Fnatic was hoping to get that Wubby kill to give them 10 or very close to, so that they have the turn-in and comboed with that at the same time. But now Team Dignitas with the counter kill gets an opportunity to siege down some of the towers that were weakened by the Web Weaver, starts to turn in some of the gems that they have been able to accrue, and they have just enough to get a second turn-in phase. Fnatic rolls the dice in the gamble, but Team Dignitas just steals them away. They take the Web Weavers, and let's see how much more they can get done this time with the second Web Weaver phase.
Yeah, the ironic ironic thing is that in the group stage, when it went 1-1, Tomb of the Spider Queen was won by Dignitas, Fnatic was running Morales and Sergeant Hammer, and they very nearly killed Wooby. One auto attack away. Wooby then was Ragnaros. And it was almost at the same place, right at that upper pay station. Had he died, I truly believe Fnatic would have won the whole game. But instead, their comp looked bad. But it's only because of that one kill, because then they lost 2 and they didn't turn in. Many bad things happened. Now, again, trying to kill Wooby, the one that got away from them. And they don't get Wooby again. And again, Dignitas draws ahead immensely.
Yeah, Fnatic probably recognizing the synergy between the two games. Sends Bad Benny to the top, just Molten Core clear out the top, knowing that mid would likely be forfeit. The lane was pushed in, so the Web Weavers got right onto the fort. But the Molten Core ends pretty quickly. Team Dignitas getting aggressive in their positioning. They've got Slowing Sands now, so that Point can stay safer behind that. Then it'll be joined by another circle of the Lurking Arm. Team Dignitas hoping that they can push on up and take out this fort in the top. This sets them up beautifully for a later on boss play.
Exactly. So good you mentioned that, because boss is one of the best ways to end on this map, besides turn-ins. Turn-ins keep getting more expensive, whereas the boss is always possible when you're a little bit ahead to have a massive push with. Sometimes it's hard when you're ahead to get enough gems to turn in. This is why teams need to ask themselves, we can turn in, but do we want to? Like maybe Fnatic was doing at the first turn-in. But the boss is one of the biggest power plays on this map. Don't want to take it too early though. Early bosses aren't that strong. And especially when you are ahead, one of the mortal sins on Tomb is to get the boss and to give a turn-in to the losing team. It is not a good trade, usually.
Yeah, and especially where Fnatic has been fairly desperate now to get a lot of those gems in. Holding on to 130 gems is no place you want to be when you would like to be getting a fight and trying to do the things that get you experience back in. And yet, generally, you do have to get into a fight and get some picks to turn those gems in. And Dignitas, knowing this, are staying aggressive. They have that 13 advantage. They now have survivability with Chromie. They're mounting up the damage and the lockdown that they can have too. And Fnatic, until they can get there, just have to play the safe game.
And they are. They're deathballing a lot, staying around, trying to remain in strength while not letting their macros slip entirely, so that they have that kill potential. Spread out too much and you'll miss out on any would-be opportunity to kill someone, but group up too much and see your disadvantage widen and increase.
This
Wooby
may be
once again the target.
Yeah, Burrow Charge goes in. They've got the weighted push on it too.
No!
Cocoon used as the cursed bullet came out.
Cocoon! What a troll!
Oh no, Team Dignitas will be able to show up in kind.
Oops.
And keep Wubby alive. Maybe a little pressure getting to Fnatic in this game. They are down 1 game in the series, but it's not over yet.
Wooby is dead.
Yes.
The cursed bullet took him to 60%. Silence is there. No self-coil. Now Icebound Fortitude. No Army of the Dead. Second stun available. Lucia can push him back into the circle. Mena was in position. Everything was ready to get a kill, deny gems, gain gems, create space, get level 13, get the turn in. But that one cocoon will be the reason Fnatic loses this game. Does not get a comeback.
No turn in for Dignitas yet, but they're getting close. Fnatic gets another opportunity before all of those gems are turned in. Now they have 13 too. They don't have the element of surprise, right? Team Dignitas is now expecting Fnatic to get aggressive at this point. Yeah. They need to. They're sitting at 165 gems. They know it. They hook them. The Slowing Sands goes down too, but Breeze burrows out.
Breeze burrows out. Burrow Charge will be available again in about 5-6 seconds. Hook itself, maybe in 6 by now. Fnatic will need to be careful. Even a Nubarak is not safe against the hook. And JPL is sharking around again. Hook should be available now.
Had Benny pushing along the top. The rest, though, in that death ball that can hopefully one-shot someone. Everything up for Fnatic at this 13 point. They're running out of time. Hook. This is Bad Benny who gets hooked from that, but does get the armor from Tempered Flame. They can try to turn this now. Breeze goes in with the cocoon. Who are they going to focus? It looks like one of the frontliners as the sound barrier goes down. Not focusing anybody yet. Instead, as the flailing swipe comes out, someone else is swiping, and that's Snitch. 2 quick kills for Fnatic.
Poik with the massive damage. Dragon's Eye with the double kill. Beautifully set up, of course, by the rest of Team Dignitas. In comes Genji, mopping up the rest of the members of Fnatic. And Fnatic loses a whopping 40 gems or so. Luckily, the 2 members with the most gems get away. But what an inundation of aggression by Dignitas is being showered down upon Fnatic here. I want to point out one really cool play though by Bad Benny. He saved his level 13 talent for very long. When he got hooked, mid-air, that's when he picked it, so that when the follow-up stun came out from Uther, he got that bonus armor that only procs when you get stunned, and I believe rooted, but definitely when you get stunned.
Yes.
So he wanted to hide the fact that he had it. Maybe if he doesn't get hooked, he goes with the Q, the Cauterize, get the Q healing on himself, and he has the CDR on the Q, of course, at level 7. But because he got hooked, he picked it. Not saying it's great to get hooked, but that kind of talent hiding is really awesome.
Yeah, it kept him healthy enough that Fnatic were able to stay in that fight for a much longer than just losing one person and having to leave. But the problem seemed to be that the team still seemed fairly split on who would be a good target for Team Dignitas, and then Poik. Poik's Chromie, Poik's Tracer, Poik's everything gets that double Dragon's Eye kill along with the slashing of Snitch. And it was such fast reaction from Team Dignitas. They knew that this was going to come in. Now they know that Bad Benny is likely to use his Molten Core here too, but stalling and keeping Fnatic here in the mid allows top and bottom to push freely.
This is why Chromie is so cool against Ragnaros. Imagine a Chromie that can hit all of her skill shots with 100% certainty. Poik is pretty close to that against enemy heroes.
No!
But imagine against Molten Core. Normally Sandblast hits only heroes, but Molten Core is counted as one, so you can vastly reduce the duration of Molten Core by picking Chromie into Ragnaros. In this case, Chromie was actually picked in the draft before Ragnaros, but that doesn't mean that you can't use it to counter Ragnaros in that sense. But it might be a reason not to take Ragnaros into Chromie, as it's so easy to just shave off half the duration from great distance.
Yeah, the Ragnaros, unfortunately for Fnatic, because of the Chromie and rest of Poke, wasn't able to save the keep in mid. So Dignitas opens up a possible win location should they win another fight as decisively as they won the last one. Fnatic finally will get some of those gems turned in, keeping a hold of enough of them throughout the many losses of heroes that they have sustained. But Team Dignitas get a boss. They had used every single gem that they had left to get that turn in, so now they set their sights on the boss instead. The Webweaver, because this boss is here, is going to spawn in an easy to clean up location, and they can get more aggressive on the keep along with that.
Breeze flank, Cocoon on Uther. This is perfect. Sephora Smash kind of whiffs there. JPL stays alive. Breeze now caught in a very difficult place. Fnatic's flank failed. Turned sour in their mouths. The hook on Smex.
JPL just lived through the combo that Fnatic wanted to be able to execute, thanks to the good supporting and the Putrid Bile slowing down Breeze so that no one else really could come to his aid. And Team Dignitas, with only one single death, moves up in this series at 2-0. Such clean play from Team Dignitas now that the knockout stage has been going on.
Yeah, again, only one takedown against them, same as last game, and I wonder if we should even count that since it was during the core all-in. Dignitas takes a relatively easy second map against Fnatic. Once again, putting Mene outside of his comfort zone proved to be a very good drafting strategy. And putting Dignitas outside of their comfort zone seems impossible.
Yeah, the way they were able to bring in old comforts like JPL Stitches, and because they have such a stellar Chromie player, and Stitches and Chromie have so many intricate synergies, giving vision for hooks, giving the slow to make hooks easier once you get slowing sands, and then having follow-up stuns. The hook places them in a certain place so that you can get the burst from that. The synergies are so good between these two heroes, and it really does feel like in bringing on Poik, Team Dignitas have just set themselves up so well. Like, they can rely on this player and set up things around him, know that he's going to deliver with Chromie, with Tracer, but still the same is true for Wubby too.
Yeah, and the great thing about Poik is, I really think, as much as I love Mene and his prowess on mages, Poik is, I think, every bit the mage player Mene is, but can also run auto attackers, and that makes him really valuable asset for Dignitas, which is why I feel that right now Dignitas is a world-class team, and Fnatic has the makings of one, even though they just were, but they said it themselves. We're going to work hard to grow up again, but they're not there with Dignitas right now.
Yeah, Fnatic has been, it feels like, a little more stuck in the needing to play double support. They haven't always done it in the knockout stage, but I would say they are the next behind. KSV still running that composition, and they were able to get through SPT, but only got the 1 game win off of KSV, and now are 1 game away from being eliminated by this guy and his team. Poik getting another Chromie MVP. That's got to be 3 or 4 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he has just been playing out of his mind. When he's not nervous, he is one of the MVPs of this tournament. And
I know.
Played a great Chromie there, never got ganked, cleared his lane, and when it was needed, call upon him and he will deliver. Gets the skill shots, perfect follow-up, and his time with Dignitas has been so short. It's so impressive. This is a player that came from Europeans Open Division.
Yeah.
And is now gelling with the best of them.
He's not only playing with Dignitas for the first time, he's playing on LAN for the first time. It is insane how well Poik is doing. Guys, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we'll see if Fnatic can bring it back or if Dignitas will take it home.